So welcome to our panel. I would love to maybe briefly introduce you, allow me to maybe not mispronounce, but Benno, you have been a founder and serial entrepreneur for over 20 years. Initially, you started in a management board of Auto24, then have used your experience to build several businesses from Ringier in Eastern Europe and also in Asia. Then you've moved to be a CEO of Gate24 as well as Comparis, and then you went back to being an entrepreneur, and in 2014 you started a company called Aureum AG. And then in 2021 you've joined Stash AG as an owner and also a CEO. So welcome.
That's right. Thank you.
Levent comes from a very, very different industry, real estate. So Levent is the founder and CEO of Properti. Prior to Properti, I think you have spent 13 years in the real estate industry, a very large sector. And you were also a chief operating officer of a transnational group. You're also a member of a Swiss Real Estate Experts Council and a Forbes Real Estate Council. So welcome. Again, we have a representative of real estate. And then Jörg, you're the last one who is really representing the banking sector or the disruption in the banking sector. You're the co-founder, CEO of Neon, who is the first Swiss challenger bank, and that's obviously a large. Prior to that, you were, to your career as an entrepreneur, you worked actually in banking, so you know the sector quite well, but you've also spent 12 years advising the banking sector at Booz & Company and later PwC as strategy. And I think you've successfully built a business to now having over 180,000 customers today. So welcome. You've picked three very, very, very different industries. You know, real estate, customer delivery, banking. Maybe I will start with you, Levent. Obviously, real estate sector is a very successful sector. A lot of money has been made. Why did you decide to leave a successful career and start from new? And what is it that you wanted to disrupt in the real estate sector?
Yes, actually now I'm for 14 years in the industry, and at this time I started next to my college at a real estate agency like brokerage, which I had a great opportunity actually to grow, and I was then at the age of 23 managing director and the age of 25 COO of the group, and I built up the company from 60 to approx 380 employees, and my motivation was always actually like this traditional career path and yeah, making money, I don't know what, and then it was actually, I realized that that's not my motivation anymore, so earning money. So I realized that my motivation is really this inner fire to create something, to disrupt something. And as you mentioned, like real estate is a huge sector. It's one of the biggest asset classes, actually. I think the last 20 years, they were quite great, golden times, like people could really earn good money. And now, like, inside a couple of months, it's in a certain way a crisis there, right? And yeah, for us was really the idea to fight against the dinosaurs, against the traditional industry, and build up property to disrupt this market, right?
But what is it, what part of the value chain in real estate are you looking to disrupt?
Actually, we're a transaction-based platform, so our main business is really selling, renting properties. Like our business has three pillars. The first pillar is brokerage, so we do our own brokerage. The second pillar is software. We automatize up to 80% of the processes that our agents can serve 3 to 4 times more listings, and also that they have a double-sized basket size. And the third pillar is marketplaces, which we'll release in the coming months. And that's actually, so we focus on the transaction, try to have like offer buyer, tenants, landlords this all-in-one shop solution that you can directly book over us, mortgage, moving, cleaning, renovations. You can, like, the journey is fully digitalized, and that's actually what we do.
Okay. And Jörg, to move on to the banking sector, obviously banking sector is a huge part, in particular of the Swiss economy. It's been in the news recently. You come a bit from an outsider's perspective. You know, what is it that you saw that needed to change in banking, and what need are you looking to address?
Outsider in terms of maybe that I'm not Swiss, but I spent a lot of time in banking, many years, and what we see, especially in the Swiss market, is that the retail banking sector is really not very modern, not very client-friendly, very expensive, and that drove us to start the company and change this in the market and yeah, kick some of the banks' asses.
But at the same time, it's a very highly regulated sector, which makes it very difficult to disrupt and to break through. Or do you have a different opinion? Or, you know, how do you deal with this heavily regulated sector?
As many other industries, of course, there are rules, regulations. The Swiss regulation system is actually a little bit used or misused to protect the banks from competition abroad. Hence, we of course have to deal with the Swiss regulation. But as it's plain field for everyone, we don't see a specific challenge here or anything that is really specific.
But currently you primarily focus obviously on consumer banking within.
For sure, we only have retail clients that live in Switzerland, are above 15 years old. That's our target.
And then obviously grocery delivery is a very, very big sector as well. It's a huge chunk of the economy. You've joined Stash AG. What is it you are looking to disrupt, and is there a need to disrupt grocery delivery really?
Well, thanks, Aureum, and thanks to the Startup Night team for having me. It's an honor to be here. Yeah, it truly, in my opinion, is a disruption, and it's through innovation. Because what we're doing, I just need to be everybody on the same page. What we're doing is we're delivering your grocery orders within 10 minutes. 10 minutes, you heard right. So that's not a lot of time. You order your groceries through the app, you get delivered in 10 minutes. We call ourselves Amazon on steroids. And now, when we're looking at the market, when we started doing it, nobody was around. That was a completely new thing we did. Everybody else was just doing online supermarket, next day delivery. They were innovating into same day delivery. So they tried to do it the easy way, but you can only be successful if you do it the hard way.
And you mentioned the hard way. I mean, obviously that sector has gone through a lot of high and lows recently. It's been in the headlines due to mergers, due to companies disappearing. How are you looking to differentiate yourself? Or what is it that you're doing differently from both, obviously, the incumbents, but also the new entrants to the sector?
Absolutely. Well, the hard way means, what I'm referring to is you need to have, at the end of the day, 3 ingredients to be successful. So first of all, what you need to have is your dark stores scattered all over the city. These are little warehouses where you keep the products and where you keep your people waiting for the orders. Second thing you need is the said people, the packers and the riders who are waiting for the orders. If you think about it, when an order comes in, you have 90 seconds time, 90 seconds time to pick the order and hand it over to the delivery guy. So this is not a lot of time. Everything needs to be very optimized in order to do that. And this is the third component. You need to have a really sophisticated and well thought through tech in order to be able to do that.
Okay. Well, you've established your businesses. You've been quite successful in it. What has been a big component of disruption is obviously disrupting the incumbents. What has been the reaction in your sectors of the incumbents? Maybe you can go through, maybe we start with you, Levent.
Yeah, I think the reactions there are and were still mixed. So there are these haters and lovers, let's say, in a certain way. And Gandhi once said, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, and then they fight you, and then you win, right? So that's a great quote. I think for us, it's very important to just focus on this one thing, having the great team, a great vision, a great mission, and doing just this one thing. And yeah, we don't care what other people say, because our goal is to have, like, simplifying real estate, to make customers happy, and so yeah. For us.
But have you tried to work with the incumbents, or are you still in a stage of fighting only?
Fighting, I wouldn't say. We just don't care. But I believe on the other side, we have over 160 partners in this ecosystem of living, like banks, insurances, moving companies. And I think that's also a confirmation that it works. So we have over 160 partners. We have, like, great investors behind. And yeah, of course. But like for us, we're always open-minded, but we just focus. And yeah.
And Jörg, obviously retail banking, you've mentioned you're addressing a problem because we all pay lots of fees to traditional banks. What has been the reaction?
Reaction for us was sometimes a little bit like a compliment. In the beginning, the bank started to copy our app, our solution, tried it, for instance, for a certain part, for instance, the onboarding, which we did was a video onboarding, and from the partner we worked with, they told us, okay, now we have another meeting with another bank because they want to understand this kind of process. In, I think, 2020, Credit Suisse started to launch a company or a brand similar to us, really addressing us in their advertisement, actually copying one-to-one our text or the content from our website, which my friends from marketing on our side find quite funny. So there was some reaction. The next reaction was, I think, PostFinance and Swissquote teamed up to launch another solution. And yeah, for us it's quite flattering to see that the banks actually react. Some of the banks also adopted their pricing. Maybe the culture itself changed a little bit in the banking, the awareness of the clients, but of course, to transform such an industry takes typically 20 years.
Sure.
So we still have some way to go.
And maybe if I can address the same question to you, please.
Of course, the reaction of the existing players, everybody reacted to it at some sort. We probably all know the formats that came up, like Hey Migrolino or Avec Now or My Migro or all these formats. But as we know today, everybody got out of the market again because they were not successful, because they did not the actual hard job that you need to do in order to compete with quick delivery. So we remain the only player in the market, which actually makes you think you're either a genius or a complete moron. But it's a hard thing to do, because when you're the only one, you own 100% of the market share. That's nice, but you have to do the market education all by yourself, which is a very expensive thing to do.
Mm-hmm. And maybe to start, you've been obviously in business and you've seen businesses change, you've seen incumbents react to you. If you were to look back, or you have a lot of founders obviously, or young founders in the audience, what would you do differently? And is the market maybe different today? I mean, maybe I can start with you this time.
In the context of competition, I think it's important to understand where your product or your service is better can be more convenient, cheaper, faster, different value, and to focus on that, and to keep this as the heart of your company, and hence also of your competition and your positioning. I think that's not the real secret, but that's what a company should target for. And we did it also, for instance, from our organization. Everyone in the company, senior management, believes the product is the core. We don't have a CPO because every C-level is responsible for the product, more or less. And that's what I think is, I would encourage other companies to really focus on what they want to sell, because that's typically what would be successful, yeah.
And Levent, you've previously spoken about focus.
Yeah.
Much you can a little bit address that.
Like for all founders here out, I think one of the most important is really focus and don't do too much things on the same plate in a certain way. I think that's something which we also learned. And really focus on this thing, and having the right people, having really people which live in a certain way for this mission and vision in a certain way, and really want to push. So if you have like hired drivers and not passengers, and throw the wrong people out of the bus, I think it's all about people, it's about customers, do the best possible job and have a great team which really is into it, and which you give them the ownership and responsibility and trust to create something great. And I think that's something which I've learned, and yeah.
And Benno, obviously your business is very much reliant on people. How do you find the right people, and how do you motivate them really?
Well, we're happy to say that usually they find us, so we don't have any bigger issue to find people, because we're doing a lot of personal, or let's say, HR marketing, and making sure that we can bring on board the best people, and we pay them the best in the delivery industry, at least. So this is very important. But the question was, what did we learn, or what did we want to, or what would you do differently? We could start over. The question is, what did we learn? And I think that the thing we learned, or that we had to learn the past 3 years, is where not to spend marketing money. Because usually 80% is completely useless. Now we know which 80%, so that you would do completely different when you would start over.
And spending money is obviously a very important component. Earning money is a very important component. And we've obviously all seen that the environment in general for startups has changed, and there's a lot more focus on profitability. How did you experience that within your companies? And what are you doing to address this change in mindset from the investors? Maybe.
For us, actually, sales was always very important. I always say at least you have to pay your bills, and if you have the security to be like near to profitability, I think that's very important. That's also the same what we have done. I think it's a hard environment, but good cases still get invested. And for us, it was always important resales, making revenue, creating great product, great software. But yeah, I think there are startups which are not in a great situation at the moment, and being profitable or just near to the profitability is quite important. It's also what we do, so we should be next year more or less profitability.
But it's hard to obviously manage investing and growth and being profitable because you have to, it's a trade-off. I mean, I don't know.
I think growth is important still. Like we had last month over 90% growth, so I think it's a trade-off in a certain way, and yeah.
How do you, Jörg, experience it?
For us, we started in 2018-19, and the first 3 years were really growth. And we, as the founder, also discussed that with our investors. For instance, in 2020 or 21, if we want to focus a little bit on profitability or more on growth. And at that time, the decision was very clear to go on growth. And I give some examples what that actually means. In 2022, there was the shift in the industry, and many other startups also shifted then focusing on growth or even reducing costs. We focus now on growth in terms of we have now more the target not to actually expand the customer base significantly, but rather make the product a little bit broader, hence earn more money by the usage of the product and hence become profitable. So it's could say it's very classic right now. For me, maybe 2 sentences. When we communicated to the team, I was very surprised how fast this was picked up. The whole team immediately understood, okay, now I have to focus my marketing messages. I have to focus, for instance, not to make messages to the market, but rather to the existing client base. The product team started immediately to change the way how they calculated the business cases, not evaluating the number of new clients higher than the profits we would earn with that. And here I was very surprised actually by the team. This was somehow implemented within a week. We made a presentation, told them that's the strategy. We are a very transparent company in terms of everyone at least should know and can know what we earn with a certain product, with a certain client, with a certain event. And hence, that was, for me, a big surprise.
Well, Benno, your business is a little bit different in that, at least in my understanding, you require also significant investments up front to then in the infrastructure. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, well, when we started, everybody said to us it's completely impossible to run such a business profitable, even our own investors. So everything was important, was growth, top line development, so on and so forth. This changed dramatically. Everybody wants to see profits now. So we had to tweak here and there, save 80% of the useless marketing spending. And I'm very happy to announce that we had the first profitable month in September 2023.
Bravo.
Congrats.
It's applause, huh?
Thank you.
But to go back to the topic of people, because I think you've all agreed that people and your team is extremely important. And I think the big advantage of startups is that you're looking for leaders, you're looking for people who can take responsibility. However, that often comes at the expense of processes, because such people usually don't like to follow processes, or they're obviously very ambitious. How do you manage that, in particular as you scale? Because then you need to put certain structures, and yes, you maybe lose some agility, but you win some also in following particular processes. How do you think of that?
I think, like for us, it was a big learning that we had to learn that really we have always to act in the interest of the company. And if you come to a certain stage, you're meanwhile 170 employees. And I think the same people which you had 3-4 years ago perhaps doesn't match to 100%. So it's important that people also grow with the company. And I think that was also one learning of us, that we should have onboard more expensive people. I think meanwhile with a great management, great people on board, also great people which are still from the beginning here. But I think it's really a big challenge, and people have to grow with you. And if they don't grow, they have to go. And I think that's an important learning. And coming back to passengers and drivers in a certain way, and that was also a learning, right? So leadership, investing in leadership, like communication, very important, like speak honest, just speak about challenges and problems, and I think that's what's most important.
Maybe if you could expand on what some of the difficult people decisions that you had to take in your business.
Well, I would like to answer to the first question more, like, because here, to us, the most important people in our company is the riders, the customer-facing people, the ones who ride the bikes, even if it's the weather like this today. And clearly, you need to make sure that you have the perfect working environment, you pay them fairly, you pay them on time, you have the perfect equipment, and everything runs smoothly. And in this concern, that costs a lot of money, additional money, other players are not willing to pay, but your people pay you back twice, 10 times, and when they arrive at the customer's door with a smile on their face, that is more than you can expect with this a bit more money you pay.
To go back to our topic of disruption, well, obviously disruption requires a way forward. How are you thinking of your businesses developing going forward? And how do you think of disruptions to your business? Because there are obviously new businesses coming in, new business models coming in. Maybe Jörg, we can start with you this time.
Yes, for us, maybe we are a little bit analytical here. We size the market and see what share we could get out of it, and manage the company to be clearly break even if we reach this target. We see a disruption also. Even grocery retailers started a banking offer recently, so it is an attractive market. Maybe it's arrogant, maybe it's naive, but right now we are not really intimidated by existing, or let's say old banks, just because of the typical speed, because of the cost curve, because of the structural organizational and process they have. So right now I don't feel or it's not my highest risk and my highest concern to get disrupted by the industry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think this disruption means like simplifying technology, and we want to simplify real estate. So for us, it's really this ecosystem, certain all-in-one shop solution, which we want to actually like be the market leader now in Switzerland the coming 3 years, and then go on international and really disrupt the real estate realtor market. And I believe, yeah, it's a huge opportunity, a very traditional, old-fashioned business where you can really, create great things, actually.
But maybe to ask a different way, what is your vision in 5 or 10 years? Or where do you think your company will be, and how do you develop there?
Mm-hmm. Well, when we started 3 years ago, we were thinking of disrupting primarily supermarkets. But when we started to look at what people ordered and when, we found out that we actually primarily disrupt convenience stores. And this is, if you think of it, this is we created a completely new market. So quick commerce is, if you look abroad in international dimensions, you see that quick commerce is everywhere, and it came to stay. It grows, and we're #1 player because we're 100% market share holder. So if I were you, I would invest heavily in Stash. Mm-hmm. And when we're looking at where this journey can go, well, clearly you can stay independable, especially if you're profitable. But there are 2 other paths that are lying ahead of you. It's not specific to Stash, it's specific to any disruptor. You can join forces with some international players. I mean, like Gorillas did with Gate24, or you can find a similar acquirer in a similar industry, like food delivery, I don't know, Just Eat, Takeaway, Uber Eats, and so on and so forth. And of course, you can be bought by the very people you were disrupting in the first place. So that means in Switzerland, clearly Migros and Coop and all these usual suspects.
And Jörg, is your dream to be bought by one of the large banks in Switzerland or abroad?
No.
What is your vision for the company, or where do you want to be in 10 years?
The vision we started is maybe still the same. The vision is that we want to build a banking solution that is hassle-free, that you like, you don't complain, you don't feel bargained by a bank. So that's not, I would say that's not a dream, that's something that we implement and hope that the industry is also picking up here.
And you spoke about obviously disrupting the real estate sector, but you seem to have very much international ambitions after Switzerland. Is that the case? Or?
Yeah, exactly. So our vision is in 5 years to be in 5 markets, 5 countries, and to disrupt the market based on the 3 pillars, and having great people, like people which develop themselves and just having a great time, right, and just rock the market.
And we are obviously at Startup Nights Switzerland. Maybe you could share some of your views of what are some advantages or also disadvantages of starting a business in Switzerland, or what can be improved going forward? Anyone?
Should I start? Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, or you want?
No.
Sorry. Yeah, what's our advantage? I think we have a great environment. We have economical-wise a great environment. We have like great events as today and yesterday. I think in Switzerland to found a startup, we have like the best position which we can have. Disadvantages, I believe, like this failure culture bit is missing in Switzerland. So just do it, don't talk, and also do failures. I think it's very important, reflect, do it better, just fuck what other people think and do your thing, right? And I think that's for me something which I want to give also to the founders. Don't think too much and just do it.
Mm-hmm. I think I was earlier at lunch, and one of the founders actually said that Switzerland is probably one of the safest countries to start a business because you can always go back and find a good job. Is that true, or how do you see that? What encouragement would you give?
I'd rather not find out. But no, but I personally find very interesting about the Swiss market is you find here a lot of people that are able and willing to pay for premium products. And clearly in other markets you see it's all about price, price, price. And one big advantage, maybe sounds strange, we don't have any big cities in Switzerland. So that does not attract international players in early stage. So it's a very complicated, it's the fragmented market, it's complicated, there is regulations, there's labor law and so on and so forth. So actually it's hard to do it. But it's very attractive because when you succeed in doing it and you own the market, then you're a very, very attractive acquisition target. So again, I'd invest in Stash.
And maybe the last question before we give to the audience, how do you personally, as a founder, define your success? Is it about a successful exit? Is it something giving back to the ecosystem? Maybe, Jörg, I will put you on the spot now.
Me? Okay.
No, Jörg.
Jörg, sorry.
For me, I just like the work, to be honest. We, as a company, we have several KPIs, how we define the success, growth, and profitability. I explained about it. For me, I just like what I do right now, and we are not a team who thinks, and don't get me wrong, who thinks about now, okay, we want to cash out and make exit, or we want to, so it's just nice to work in a team. Typically, they're younger than me, and they're very motivated, and that's what makes me happy.
Benno?
Well, I would define success in the Stash context to see each and every order and each and every delivery, whether you can meet your 10 minutes or 12 minutes or 8 minutes or whatever you said to the customer, and to make the customer happy on each and every delivery makes you happy and makes you successful, not as a company, but as a rider who works for the company and sees the smile on the face of the customer. And this defines success to me.
Levent?
Yeah, I think the hard facts are like happy customers, KPIs, revenue, market cap, and the second, like the soft factors are really like what means success. I think it's the momentum in a certain way. I think it's these early mornings, these late nights, these days where you just wake up and you think, hey, fuck, I can't work, but you have to. So for me, it's like really the destination of the journey, not the destination. So I think that's for me success. Like I think just being happy and doing the best that you want. So.
I think we have 1 minute left. Maybe we can have some, please.
Okay. When discussing disrupt or be a disruptor, how would you recommend well-established, middle-sized companies become disruptors who don't have the capital like large players to just buy the successful disruptors, but obviously also don't have the appetite of risk such as startups do?
It's a little bit generic question, and hence the answer can't be really specific, but what is important for you and to be successful, to be aware, what do you actually disrupt, what is, again, cheaper, better, nicer, faster, whatsoever, and that's where you can start and build it on. And if it's the price, then you have to think about your distribution strategy, about the product design, blah, blah, blah. If it's the speed, whatever it is, I don't know. But again, what makes the product unique and how can you disrupt or is it maybe the network? I don't know. But you have to define what the capability actually is that helps you to disrupt an industry and take it from there. Sorry, a little bit generic.
Anybody else? Well, thank you very, very much. And hopefully you've learned all a little bit about different industries.